Hi, hello to everyone who is
Hi.
joining live tonight. So we are talking tonight to the very lovely Lynette from the Capriccio Quartet. We had hoped that our first virtual talk Tuesday of the year would be not virtual, would be a real life one. But unfortunately we are back on the internet. So if anybody wants to ask us any questions, please feel free to comment. Just be aware that we won't see your name unless you give StreamYard permission or if you type your name in the comments. So anything you think you want to ask, type away. And we will keep an eye on the comments later. So if you're watching it back from home at another point, we will try and answer your questions then. Okay? So, firstly, hi Lynette, how are you?
Hi.
So do you want to start and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about the quartet?
Yes, so I set up the quartet in 2001, and so we're going to be 20 this year. So that's 20 years of events and weddings. So I'm very excited about that. But given the situation, I think we'll be having a celebration for our 21st next year.
Celebrations around this year, I think.
Yeah. But I was always very enthusiastic about having a quartet for weddings and corporate events. I've always loved playing in a string quartet. So I am the founder member. I'm the person that people chat to on the phone. And I do bookings as well. So it is me that you talk to when you come to book or chat about booking us.
Fab. Well, that being said, if you look at the bottom of our screen, you should see the contact details for the quartet under there. So you've got the inquiries email address and you've got a phone number. So if anyone does want to get hold of Lynette and have a chat about weddings or corporates or anything else, feel free to use those numbers. I'm sure she will do everything she can to advise you. So I'm just going to see, I'm looking at my lovely list of questions here. Do you want to tell us, first of all, obviously quartet, there's four of you. Who is in the group? What do you play?
So I play first violin. And then on second violin, there is the lovely Graham. He's fabulous because he plays second violin, but he also plays the viola, which is amazing. So we can swap it around a bit. He's been with the quartet almost since I set up. There's been a few player changes over the years, but Cecily came to join us. I think it's about 10 years ago now. It might be coming up that. I lose track of time. So Cecily on the viola and wonderful Becky, our fabulous cellist, who joined us about 5 years ago. And on top of that, we have a fabulous small team of depths, we call them. So if somebody's ill or they can't make it, we have a very, very regular small team that can step in for either of us. And so it's a seamless, it's never a problem.
I'd never thought of that actually for a group. It must be.
It's fantastic. We know our depths. I have parties at Christmas for the depths as well because we're a very close knit group. So there's the quartet, and then very, very regular, and they know all our music really, really well. So it's never a problem if you see a face that's not perhaps one of us.
Cool. Well, what sort of music do you play? What is your repertoire?
Wow. Well, we've got everything. We're now into 3 pads, absolutely 3 thick pads of music. We play everything from classical. Some brides love just having that classical feel to their wedding, and then when the drinks reception happen, we sort of shake it up a bit with more modern, and sometimes they don't want any classical, and we have so much contemporary music. We have everything from, we've got things for like the Beatles, Foo Fighters. We've got things like Sweet Child of Mine, which is brilliant on string quartet.
Nice.
It sounds amazing. And things like Adele and Ed Sheeran. The list goes on. Any artist you can think of, we've either got it in our pads or we can get hold of it. It's a never-ending list of things.
So if people have specific songs or things that they want played, if you don't specifically know one, will you have a look and learn it to play?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. So this quite often happens. So our list is ever expanding and it's on our website, so you can have a good look at that. But we often ask for a song that isn't on our list, and we either look for it online, so it might already be there as an arrangement string quartet, but sometimes it isn't because it's quite unusual. And we have a wonderful arranger who will arrange for us, and that just costs a small fee, just an extra small fee just to do that.
To do a specific one. Oh, that's really interesting. So anyone can pretty much have anything they want. That's lovely.
I draw the line at rap. Somebody asked us to do a rap once. It doesn't quite work. But generally speaking, yes. Not on my list of performance ability rap, but
no. So what else was I going to ask? Oh, do you have a specific song or specific genre that you like to play, or are you just happy to play anything?
Oh gosh, do you know what we love is having a variety to play. Sure. It's such good fun. If you've started a wedding with the popular Pachelbel's canon, and then you finish a wedding by playing Sweet Child of Mine, and then a bit of Adele in the middle, and it's great fun. It's absolutely fabulous. And what we love is every event we play at, you can tell that people have their very unique style of what they want to aim for, and it's brilliant being able to do that for them.
Fab. So in terms of if somebody wants to book you for a wedding, how do you work out when you're going to play? Do you say, we'll play as guests arrive, or we'll play during a drink reception? Do you mix and match? How do you?
Yeah, what generally happens, if people have us for their wedding, it's really lovely to have us 15 minutes before as people are arriving.
Sure.
And I always make a joke with the bride. This isn't your music. This is the groom's music choices. So, or the other half that's waiting to get married. But we then play for the bride to walk in, or whoever's walking in, and we'll play to walk in for the actual registration. And sometimes we'll play too if the photographer's getting a bit keen, and then to walk out again. And then quite often this leads nicely into the drinks reception, where we don't tend to play so much if it is a wedding, is the wedding breakfast, because it gets quite noisy unless it's a very intimate wedding. And so a good time for us to stop is at the end of the drinks reception. So that usually ends up as a 2.5-hour stint.
Okay, lovely. And do you like to have a break of a certain time in between each thing, or does it just kind of naturally flow with what's going on?
It naturally flows with what's going on. It really does. Cool. And generally speaking, we charge first note played to last note played. So it's a really good idea to make the most of us whilst we're there. We wouldn't, for instance, sometimes people say, well, would you mind if you took an hour? So could we have our 2 hours worth of playing, say between 1 and 2, and then have an hour's break, and then could you play for another hour? That just makes no sense for us being there. So we always make clear that we play first note to last note played, and use us loads in that time.
Okay, well that's quite sensible. So I assume you pay for your time then, essentially. So you pay for the length of time that you were in attendance. Okay, that's really interesting to know. So on that, obviously that's the day part. If people wanted you for the evening, for kind of an evening reception or a kind of ball soiree, do you do that as well?
We have done that, not often, but we have done. And there's one lovely wedding we did once, where we did actually play, and they had a bit of a dance and things, but it was a much lower key, much more intimate wedding. We played 1,000 Years for their first dance. And people just really enjoyed listening more and a little bit of a dance. But we are a string quartet, we're not a band.
No,
and although we do cover modern stuff, it's not the same sound as a band. It's much more intimate if you did want us for an evening do.
I was just, my train of thought was only because obviously with the current climate, we have had our wedding numbers reduced. So the kind of big disco party thing hasn't hasn't been able to
No.
happen. So I was just,
A string quartet would be perfect.
exactly. So my train of thought was, if we go back to, hopefully very soon, but if we go back with smaller numbers, the string quartet, whilst people are having drinks and things, might be a great solution to having an evening do, but with that big party.
Absolutely. And we were going to do that for a very intimate wedding recently, but unfortunately weddings were called off, full stop, in that time gap. But it's exactly what we were going to do, and that would be absolutely brilliant. And this is exactly how we are used, in that more intimate setting.
Yeah, I think it's just another idea for people, because obviously, unfortunately, lots of people have had to chop and change around. So it's, making the most of a tricky situation. It's quite nice to sort of think outside the box. And I thought,
well, it's resilience and adaptability at the moment, isn't it? It's being very adaptable and yeah, exactly. I think there are no other words for it, really.
We've got to roll with it, I think, at the minute, haven't we?
We do.
Right. So, I know what I was going to say. What does Capriccio mean? What does the band name mean?
Capriccio is a lively piece of music. And I like to think that we are quite lively. I always have good fun when we're playing.
I have had the pleasure of seeing you play, and you were brilliant when I saw you. So just snuck in before the first lockdown, I think. It was the last wedding fair. So where are you guys based? Are you, obviously, we're coming to you from Cheltenham, but are you local to us?
Yes, so I'm in Worcestershire. We're all in Worcestershire, actually, come to think of it. So we cover all the shires. We play into Birmingham, Shropshire, Cheltenham, and so it's perfect for you. There's no extra travel coming to you. And so what you are charged is what you are charged. There's no extra hidden costs. That's what I love about it. So it's first note to last note. No hidden costs whatsoever. So it's all included. You're beautifully close for us to zoom to. So we cover all areas. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Okay. So we've covered your timings. We've done where you're based. Right. What else could we tell everybody? If people wanted to get in contact with you, I know we've said to have to get hold of you by email. Obviously, at the minute, people can't come to a wedding fair. They can't come to us and continue to play. How do you recommend people go about kind of getting a taste of what you do and hearing you? Yeah.
Basically, if you go on a website, you can find quite a few YouTube clips of us playing live. And also, if you pop us into YouTube search, if you put Capriccio Quartet, it comes up, and I think we've got about 35. I think it's 35. I lost count, actually. Our recording session we never got to do it this year. Later in the year, we were supposed to have another one, but we try and get a few in the bag each year. And we're doing it for a few years, so you can get a real feel of what we play and how we sound on there. So
brilliant, perfect. Online research is the name of the game, isn't it? Okay, so just going back, you might have already covered a little bit of it, but how did you get into music in the first place? How did you start?
I always wanted to play the violin, and my parents have no idea why. It's a fascinating one. I always and they're not musicians, and I always wanted to play the violin. And at a very young age, I was very fortunate enough to be put in a string quartet, and that's where I got my love of playing in a string quartet. And I always absolutely loved playing in that small group. And so that's what I wanted to do. So 20 years ago, that's when I set up, and I set it up actually on June the 18th, 2001, for my dad's 60th birthday. Oh, my dad is going to be 80 this June. Wow. So that's why I know exactly how old we are. So even if you find us on Twitter, I know exactly when we formed. And then from that day, there was 3 different players at the time. And then Graham joined about 6 months after we set up, and just gradually it really began to take off. I think our best gig that we did, and I have to drop this one in, we got to play at the Monaco boat show. We got to play at the Hotel de Paris. I'm losing track of what year it was. It must have been, it's about 14 years ago. We got to play in the Hotel de Paris for the opening of the boat show, and we got to play on a yacht called the Netanyahu.
Oh my goodness.
So we had the best, all expenses paid. So that is the best, I have to admit. that does go down as a real highlight of Capriccio history.
Oh, well, that's quite amazing. That must have been wonderful.
Yeah. And you can see photos on our social media to prove we were there.
Well, I might have to go and have a little look, I think.
And the thing I say, we might not be as young as we were in the quartet, but what we do bring to the table is experience. Mm-hmm. We have been doing this for 20 years. We have experienced every corporate event. We've experienced every sort of wedding. We've experienced church weddings. We've experienced weddings in different venues. We've played outside. We've played inside. We've played everywhere. And although we might not be new out of music college and one of the younger quartets coming through now, we do have that experience in what we do. And thinking I'm mid-40s now, I'm not 25 anymore, but I do feel that's what we do bring to the table.
Amazing. Well, do you know what? I think I have to say I have heard you play, and it was one of the most lovely things ever. I think you were doing requests. Somebody was going around with one of your books, and you were just playing requests that people had, and you were absolutely fabulous. I loved it. So I can
thank you.
What I've heard. So there you go. I just had a quick question. Then you just said something that piqued my interest. For example, if somebody was getting married at a church locally and they wanted some music there, would you split your day? Would you do their wedding there and then come here and play for their drinks reception?
What we do is is the church quite close to you?
We do have people that get married quite close. I mean, as in 10 minutes. There's a couple of churches that are sort of 10 minutes away from us.
Yeah.
So I've never.
What we do is literally. we literally play at the church, then we'll hop in our cars as soon as we're able to, and we get to that venue to set up straight away, and we get playing at the venue. So when your guests arrive, we're playing and we're set up and ready to go. We do that quite a lot. It's quite a common thing. We do include it in the first note, last note played, because say if there's there, that's in there. If it's a close, we have had times when the church is a good 40 minutes, not often, and we have to work out budgets on a little bit of petrol in there if it's quite a travelling distance, and we work that out slightly differently. But usually it's that easy first note to last note, and it's all included in the travel between venues and everything.
Cool. That's interesting to know. I just wondered, as I know we've got a few people that are having church weddings and then they're having their reception here. So I just wondered how that would work. But I think you pretty much cater for everybody. So I feel like we've covered most of our bases there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, no, we're quite flexible.
I think so. I don't know if I've got any more. I think we've covered everything that I was going to ask you, Lynette. So have you got anything you wanted to add?
Oh, yeah, we have known to play the hymns in church. We do play hymns sometimes. If they've lost an organist, we have been known to accompany the hymns quite often. So that's something else we can do. Yeah.
Amazing.
So hymns to heavy metal.
Sure. You really can do everything.
But I think that's everything covered.
Well,
we've had a really exciting year because actually one of the highlights of this year, despite the lockdown, was we won the regionals of the Wedding Business Awards, and we were 1 point away from winning the nationals of the Wedding Business Awards. So it's been a really lovely year, despite all the it's great, and it is an uncertain time, but we're postponing weddings, and those postponed weddings we will be playing at, and they're just going to be brilliant when we get there. They will happen again. We will have these wonderful big weddings again. We've just all got to patiently wait, and we can play at intimate weddings in the meantime. And we are very much still taking bookings. And has happened. I've had a deluge of new bookings in 2022 because they are aware that people are postponing. So if there's anybody new who wants to book us, get in there, because it is already getting very, very, very busy in 2022 as well.
Yep, I think we would say the same from here. Lots of new inquiries because everyone's aware that everyone's had to move and postpone. And so, yeah, I would say the same. Even if you just want to...
Yeah, in 2023.
I would say to anyone that's...
Definitely.
If you want to talk to Lynette about anything, just have a chat, even if it's, you know, potential dates or what they can do, anything, I would get in contact sooner rather than later. And I'm sure she will be able to help with all your inquiries. So I think that's all from me, Lynette. So I'm going to say thank you very much for talking.
Absolutely.
And goodbye for now. And hopefully I will see you in person sometime soon.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was very lovely. So I'm going to say
so much for having us.
No worries. Bye.